Hi, it's Nicola, and today we're talking about painful stories, how to write about sad memories and hard conversations. Today's show is sponsored by the Your Family Stories system, which helps you interview a loved one to record their life story, and I have some free sections for that coming up. But if you're new to the show, welcome. Forever Young Autobiographies is a place to learn how to write life stories for family and friends so that unique memories will live on. And it'd be really good if you could follow, subscribe and like the show. So here in Australia, we've had one of the most deadliest weeks for coronavirus, and the mood is really sombre. And it reminds me of Memorial Days, things like Anzac Day or Remembrance Day. And these days also have sad and painful stories associated with them. And if you're trying to write sad stories in your memoir, autobiography, biography, or other life story project, it can be really hard. You might want to write about it, but you just can't. You don't know how to go about it. So I've got 3 ideas for you today. Now, the first one starts with a bit of a story. Recently, I went to a Remembrance Day with my family, with my young daughter, and after the ceremony, we were looking at some of the plaques for the service people. And an older lady next to us came up and started telling us through tears about her husband who had served and had died a couple of decades previously, but she was there putting flowers on his plaque. And it really was quite emotional. She just had this response to just tell us about him and what he'd done during his life. And I think, bringing up painful stories like this is a way that we can reflect on the idea of sharing and preserving people's memories, and that can help us write these painful stories. And look, I'm by no means a counsellor or a doctor or anything like that, but I think it's helpful to return to why we wanted to write in the first place. Is it that we just want to record the facts, the bare minimum, just what went on? Or are we looking to find out some new perspectives, get some insight looking back? And you might want to combine those two into a really powerful story that is a record of what's happened, and it's got that personal flavour to it. So it's going to be cherished and then handed down through the generations. So the first point to dealing with painful stories is to think about why we're writing in the first place. That can really help. The second point I wanted to bring up was just about permission and your audience. Writing about life stories, by its very nature, has the positives and the negatives of life. Your life is light and shade. And look, your audience will know if you're just painting the rosy picture. They're not silly, they're going to notice. So I think they will also appreciate, they want a story that's honest and heartfelt. They want to feel that in your writing. And to be honest, most people are writing for their family and friends. So they're on their side. They don't really they're not going to think less of you if you're going to put something in there that's a bit painful. They're going to want you to be open. They want you to be vulnerable and sincere about life's hardships. I mean, it is going to help other people possibly in the same situation. So keep that in mind. Your audience is on your side. Most of the time, they're just going to want you to be honest, and it's okay. Life's like that, has the ups and the downs. The third point I wanted to bring up was just about sometimes just writing for yourself. And I bring this point up because I recently read an extract on a book called We Are Here, and it's accounts from Australia's oldest Holocaust survivors. And these are people who've had horrific experiences during their childhood, during the war, and they've, decades later, still find it really hard to talk about and might not have talked about it at all, ever. And some people, for painful memories, painful stories, still can't talk about it. And that is totally okay. I talk about this in the Your Family Stories system. Sometimes when you're writing, it might just be that you just include one line and that's it, and that's all you can do, and that's completely okay. I just want you to think about maybe writing just a letter for your eyes only. So if you've got the painful experience, just writing a letter just for you, or maybe you're helping a loved one write their story. Maybe just if they can't share at that time, they might not be able to. If they just try to write a letter, I mean, it might help. Because if it's just for you, it's something that's just for your eyes only. It's not going to be public. But by going through that process, if it's not going to do you more harm, like we don't want that to happen. But if you're just writing it for yourself, then that little chink in the door might start to open, and that you might want to be able to then share a little bit more in your more public writings, so for your family and friends. So just an idea, start with a private letter to yourself. You can rip it up, you can do whatever the hell you want with it afterwards. But yeah, just that exercise alone might really help you get down some of those painful memories. So there's 3 ideas on approaching and exploring painful memories in your writing. And to recap, we talked about focusing on your why. Why are you writing? That can help. Also, giving yourself permission to be honest to your audience. They're on your side. And thirdly, just writing for yourself, or get your loved one to just write something for themselves. That's going to really help. I really think it will help. So I'm hopeful that these ideas are just going to give you time to pause, rethink and reframe writing about painful stories. And look, there's a lot more over at my website on this topic. You can go to foreveryoungautobiographies.com/painful stories, and I'll have all the links to everything I've talked about, plus some other articles. There's one there from memory about writing about death and dying. I've also got some interviews and some book reviews about people who have tackled tough, painful stories, whether that's being a refugee and escaping war, or you're going through cancer treatment. So please have a look at that over at the website. Leave me a comment too, over there, or while you're here. What painful stories are you thinking of including, or are you trying to write for your book? Send me a message at foreveryoungautobiographies.com/contact. Now, earlier I mentioned the Your Family Story system, and this is a system I set up when I was interviewing my grandmother to help write her life story. So she is 100, so it was a pretty big effort to get all those years recorded, but we did it. And I did it very strategically, and in this Your Family Story system, I lay that out, how I did it, from planning, then the interviewing, the writing, the polishing, and then the publishing phase. So you can get free sections to the Your Family Story system, just to get a bit of a taster before you want to take on the whole system. And you can get that at foreveryoungautobiographies.com/free. Highly recommend, just put in your email address and get a hold of that one, and just to get a little bit of a start. Now, I'll be back again really soon with another topic, so it'd be really good if you could follow, subscribe and like the show. And until then, everyone, happy writing, and please stay safe in these coronavirus times.